All right, welcome back, guys. This is part 48, if I'm not mistaken, of the Rick and Morty app series. We'll pick up exactly where we left off, working on search. Before we dive into things, drop a like, throw a comment down below. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm, engagement, reach, all that good stuff. Without further ado, let's continue. So I'm going to go and give our project a run in a simulator, and we'll see how long it decides to waste our time. While that's going on, looks like it just finished actually. While that's going on, let's jump back into our search view model, which is, I believe, where we left off, particularly me fumbling around with associated types. And we settled with a simplistic approach of process search results, where we are returning a search view model, or we're creating a search view model, I should say, which is a enumeration with three cases for the three types of things we're able to search: characters, episodes, and locations. So that being said, what we now need to start doing is rendering said results. So we'll pick one of these, get started with it. We'll see how far we get in like 15-ish minutes, and then we'll see where to cut the video. So we've got a collection view. I want to say this is a table view. Kind of looks like it. This also looks like a table view. So let's do the table view variant first because it's rather simpler. So I'm going to guess the episode was a table view cell, but let me go ahead and find it to confirm. So we should have a views folder, and then we should also have location. And it looks like location has a table view cell. So in fact, when we search on locations, these are table view cells. So inside of here, if I search perhaps Earth, I'm going to clear my console and just expand it a smidge here as well. And I hit this button, we should see some stuff printed out. So let's go and take a look. And in fact, we do. We get a bunch of models. Cool. Good deal. So let's actually, we have one model. It looks like it's a one model, locations, and it looks like we have a table view cell view model. Yeah, it looks like no, we've got a couple models. I take it back. So let's come into here and figure out how we're going to create this. So we want the view, this kind of bottom 80%, to be able to accommodate a collection view as well as a table view. And if you recall, that view is called a RM search view. So inside of RM search view, we have two things. We have a search input view, we have a no results view, and we could build directly a table view and collection view into here, but maybe the smarter thing to do would be to abstract it into a RM results or search results view. So that's what we'll go and do here. So let me create a new Swift file in the search folder. It's going to be a Cocoa Touch class. We're going to subclass UI view, and we're going to call it RM search results view. And we're just doing this to keep our RM search view, kind of the container, nimble, because if we start putting a collection view and table view and God knows what else in here, we're going to get quite large. Right now, we're already at 110 lines, and kind of separating things just makes lives a lot easier down the line. So let me write a comment on this, or a doc string. I'll say shows search results UI table or collection as needed. And let's take a look at what we'll want in here. We'll want to certainly override the initializer. So we'll create it, init with frame is what I'm looking for here. We'll want the required initializer. We'll also want to set up some constraints. So we're going to say add constraints, so I can spell it correctly. And let's also think about what we'll want to do. So by default, this guy should probably be hidden. So I am going to come up here and say is hidden is true by default. And let's also set a background color on it so we can actually see it when we unhide it to make sure it is properly showing up. And we'll want to lay this out as well. So we'll want to assign everyone's favorite property for translates auto resizing mask into constraints to false here. And let's see, what else do we want? So we probably want to configure this with a search results view model. So I'll have public func configure with view model, and this will be RM search results view model. And I think this is the enum that we had created. So I'll jump into here, and we'll be able to take in one of these cases with which has an associated value, which is a collection, an array of our cell view models, be it for a table, be it for a collection view. So inside of here, we are going to hang on to this guy. So I'll say private var view model, which will be this, optional by default. We'll say self.viewModel equals view model. And once this is set, basically when it is set, we want to do something. So what I'll say here is if view model, if this equals locations, well, I guess we can just switch on it. It's probably a smarter thing to do. So maybe what we'll do is we'll say self dot process, or maybe we'll go ahead and say, I don't know, let's call it process view model. I'm trying to think of a good name for half of these functions half the time, and it's quite challenging. For any of you who have built a bunch of things, you know that naming is like the hardest part of what we do here. So here inside of this function, we will unwrap said view model and we'll want to switch on it and do some stuff with it. So I know I'm kind of going through this a little quick, but not to worry, I'm going to pause in a second. And we're just going to hook this up to make sure the thing even shows up. Thing here being the search results red view. So this will be view models. Make sure to pluralize it. This will be location, view models. This will be episode, view models. And let's toss a break into each of these so it doesn't yell at me. Let's try to build this guy. All right, we're able to compile. It's a good sign after a lot of typing. Now, obviously, we need to hook up this results view to this kind of container wrapper view thing. So in our view, we're going to jump back to RM search view. Right where we have our no results view and our input view, we're going to say private let results view will be our results view. Surprise, surprise. We'll also want to add this as a sub view. So we'll have, I guess we can add this as the first one. It doesn't really matter. It's hidden by default. Add constraints. We'll want to certainly constrain this guy. So let's jump down into here and let's see how we want to constrain this. So we want this to be left and right kind of flush. So perhaps we'll say leading anchor is a constraint equal to leading anchor. So that is the left. We'll do the same thing for the trailing. And let me actually use left and right anchor. I find that the readability is a little better on those. So that's that. And then the bottom of this, I guess we can also just make this flush to the bottom anchor. Now the top is the important one. We don't want to overlap the search input view, aka the thing up here with the field, as well as the options button if one does exist. So here I'm going to say top anchor is going to be constraint equal to the search input views bottom anchor. Alrighty, go ahead and give it a command B to build, command R to run it in our simulator, and we actually don't expect to see anything in here because we have not unhidden that red view. So if I search for Rick here, and if I hit search, all right, nothing actually happens, which makes sense. The reason nothing happens is because in our search view, we have added this thing here where we just print results. And rather what we want to do is we want to render results. So if you recall, we had registered a search result handler and we invoked this handler after we have created the appropriate view model. And if we don't have any results that we get back, we should be actually showing this no results view, which I don't think we are at the moment. Yeah, we're definitely not showing that. So let's go and handle this. So let's see what the type of results is. This should be our search results view model. Yep, it is. Alrighty, and let me come back here and see what do we call if we don't have any results? Because that's certainly something we want to handle. So where on earth do I process? Okay, so here we're saying if we have a results view model, then we want to process it. Otherwise, we want to do something else. And that something else is we want to let our UI now show the no results case. So perhaps a better way to go about doing this is we can pass an optional results here. Then our view has to do the logic of checking nullability and kind of what to show. So let's see what else we can do. So let me come back here. Now in this error case, we also want to handle it. So let's create a function here, and this will be private. And this function is going to be handle no results. And in this case, we're going to handle no results. And also in this case, we are going to handle no results. Now, keep in mind, one thing that I see, which is kind of not obvious here, is we're doing all of this on a background queue. So when we do get to the view aspect of this, we'll want to dispatch to the main queue so we can actually handle some UI stuff. So that makes sense. Let me see what this model here is. So this model here, I think, will be generic based on the type provided. That makes sense as well. The other thing I'll do here is if we have characters or any of this jazz, it looks like what I'm trying to do is compact map the results. But if we don't have any results, I just want to verify and see what on earth happens. So I'm going to print in here, no results. And I realize I've gone on a tangent about no results at this point, but I want to make sure we don't forget to do this. Hence, I'm just going to fill it in now. So I'm going to search for my name, and I certainly am not in Rick and Morty, so we should get a printout here. So if I hit search, what do we get? We get no results. Awesome. So now that we have no results, we want to tell our view, hey, we don't have any results. And to do that, we're going to leverage the exact same pattern. We have a search result handler. We're going to have a no result handler. No results, should be plural probably, no result handler. We're not going to pass anything back. This will be optional. And similar to how we register for this, this closure, we're going to also register for this. So we're going to say register for no results handler, which will be of the same type. And then here I will say no results handler is our block. And then down here in this function, we're just printing, we will go ahead and say no results handler. It's optional, just invoke it. And then back in our search view, we should just be able to show that no results thing. So this is getting kind of long. So I will take this and say set up handlers, and we'll break that out into its own function. So we'll say set up handlers, okay? And then the other thing we'll want to set up in here is our register no results handler. And once we have no results, or I guess once we get this call that we have no results from our view model more correctly, what we can do is we want to say a couple things. We want to say self.no results, and then on here we can just say is hidden is false. And the other thing we'll want to do is we'll want to say self.results view is hidden is true. We'll also want to capture weak self. This should be main.async. I'm using a shorthand that I've written in other projects, hence I always do just .main. We should see that error go away. These should be optional. Looks like we have an error. Let's see what's happening. So we're saying capture weak self, cannot find weak in scope. What is going on? All right, we have view model. We need to handle the view model. So let me actually pass this in here. We're retaining it on self, but self view model is indeed optional. So I will just pass in that view model there. And we still have an error. Let's see what the heck is going on. So let's see, weak self in, I forgot the N in keyword. Sometimes Xcode's errors are just so not helpful. But I guess that's Xcode keeping you on your toes. Before I give this a run, let's just verify that in this no results view, we didn't add a nicer function to show or something. So we have configure here, which is private. There's no function here to show or hide. So we'll just do the hidden, is hidden and not hidden respectively. So let's give this a run, and we expect to see if I search something that clearly doesn't have results, we should see our no results. Awesome. Beautiful. Looking good. The no results part works. Now, conversely, if we do have results, we want to show that search results view. So what I could do is basically just copy and paste this, for lack of a better way to handle it, and we just want to flip this. So here we'll say true, here we'll say false. And prior to actually doing that, we probably want to let our results thing be configured with our results. So we'll say configure with results, and we'll see why this is yelling at me. Cannot use optional chaining as something that is not optional because we should capture weak self. And for those of you, I'm glossing over this, that don't know why, it's because we don't want to cause a retain cycle from our scope of the closure. back to our view. So here, let's go and just clear the console to make sure nothing strange gets printed. And we're in characters, I'll print Rick here, and we get that red view. Awesome. So we're not exactly showing any cells or anything for this, but like I said, we'll work on locations first since it's a table view. Now, that's basically all we want to do in the search view. Now, all the logic of whether to show a table, whether to show a collection view, all that jazz can be abstracted to the results view. You can even optionally abstract it into a search results view model, which we have, but I'm just going to do it in here. Once it's working, we can always go back and clean stuff up. So let's see where I want to pause this video. I'll call add constraints, which is the function we defined here in the results view. For collection views, we want, or rather for characters and episodes, we want a collection view. So here I'll say set up, we'll say set up collection view. And I'll also do this down here. We will pass in, so the problem is view models again is going to be, it's going to have a array of something. So this is view model. So in this case, this is an array of RM character or RM collection view cell view models. So this is a generic type. So I'll have to figure out a way how to properly pass this or handle it such that we're not super copy and pasting code. But for now, let's actually just say set up table view. All right, this will be set up table view. All right, looking good. We have the view model already. And up here, we'll just want to create those. So let me at least create the table view. And in the next video, perhaps we'll get the location results to show up. So here I'll say private, let table view is our table view. And let's take a look. And actually, now that I think about it, don't we already have this table view created somewhere? So I think in location, we have a location view. And this location view already has a table view in it. It has a spinner. So in theory, we could reuse this. I kind of feel like it's a little bit like we're cheating since we'll need to create this location view model. So let me not be lazy and just write it out by hand here. I think there's an interesting lesson there to be learned about when to reuse stuff and when to just implement it again. I think there's a common bias of don't repeat yourself, but in some cases, when you over reuse, it actually really complicates things. Now we should have a location table view cell, which is what I want to use, and it should have a identifier. Alrighty, and this table view will be hidden, so will the collection view. We're going to selectively show whichever one we need. So here we'll say table view dot translates auto resizing mask into constraints is false. I feel like that property could have been named a little shorter on Apple's part, but this is why I am not Apple. So we're going to get rid of this background color here. I am going to say add sub views. I'll add that table view. We will also, I guess, in the constraints, set up its constraints, and then I will probably cut the video there. So let's do NS layout constraint. We're going to activate some of these guys, and this is pretty simple. We're just going to pin this to all corners of the super view. So we'll say constraint, and we're going to equal this to top anchor, and we'll be smart and copy and paste this left, right, bottom, bottom, left, right. And just for the sake of me knowing this is showing up, let's make this yellow. And in the setup table view to see it, we'll say is hidden, is false, and we'll see why we have an error at the tail end of this video. View in scope. Why can't it find view? We are in a view. There is no view property because we are a subclass of a UI view. Give that a build and run. And in this case, we shouldn't see anything, right? Because table views should not be used for these cases. The only tab that uses a table view is locations. So I'm going to search for, well, let me search for me, I guess, because I'm not a location in theory. So I don't exist, so clearly no result. And then if I search for Earth, we should get that yellow view, which is our table view. inside of our results view. Awesome. So totally working. We actually made a lot of progress, and I severely underestimated how much complexity there is in the search results. So this will be several parts for just the results. Before we wrap up, since I always forget to do this, I am going to push my code here. So I think I have Rick and Morty somewhere in here. I have an iOS Academy folder, and Rick and Morty's inside of there. So we're going to stage everything. We're going to say this is start building search results, and we will just push it up like so to our remote repository, and we are actually done. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button before clicking away if you haven't done so already. These videos take an insane amount of time, and I super appreciate it. Share the channel on our way to 90,000 subs. I'm super pumped to get to 100, honestly, really excited. And leave a comment down below if you have any questions, or if I glossed over anything, or if you have any weird errors. Always happy to help as best as I can. So thanks again for watching. I will see you on the next one.